Hey everybody, welcome back to another Whiskey Quickie where, it's very rare, but sometimes we get the opportunity to try some of those high value, big dollar items that ever hit the shelf. Today, it's one of these days. We've done Woodford Baccarat. We've also done another last drop, but today we're doing another last drop, and this is a blend of Kentucky straight whiskeys.
This is I don't know if it's quite the last drop, but maybe 4 drops.
4 drops.
That we got. Can you see this?
4 drops out of there. Zoom in.
Thank you for sending those. So,
yeah. This was actually how we got this. Was we recorded a This Week in Bourbon, and we talked about this particular release.
Oh.
And I said, we're not probably going to get a sample of this. And the PR person sends me a message back, and he goes, "Au contraire, we actually do have a sample for you."
Kenny, you're smart, man.
All we do is
always thinking.
Yeah, we'll put the bait out there and see if we can reel them in. That's what it kind of goes down to. No, but definitely thank you to Sazerac and Last Drop Distillers for sending this. Looking forward to it. And as with any review, we have not tasted it, we have not tried it, we've not nosed it. This is going in completely blind, but here are the details. So the Last Drop Distillers of London, who we've had on the show before, they're noting for hunting down the literal last drops of single malt Scotch, cognac, Japanese whiskey, and others to bottle for its private and pricey collection of spirits here. So this latest one is shifting back to America, and this is a blend of vintage Kentucky bourbon and rye whiskeys that were compiled and blended by Sazerac's master blender, Drew Mayville, who we've also had on the show. As a part of the Last Drop Distillers, this is release number 28. And for this release, Mayville tasted more than 40 different samples of bourbon and rye before landing on the final blend. This is bottled at 121.4 proof, which means it's uncut and unfiltered. Now, in regards of what he tried, what goes in the blend, that remains a mystery. It's non-age dated. It doesn't matter, because last time we did, I think it was like a 1986 Buffalo Trace bourbon. It was, super dusty. Who knows? So we have no idea what to get into this. There's a grand total of 1,458 bottles that will be available, and it has a price tag. Get ready for it. I don't know how big your credit card spending limit is. Maybe you need like an Amex Black on this one that makes that ting sound when you drop it on the table, but a $4,000 SRP.
Well, I was lucky enough to go into the Last Drop vault where they have all these whiskeys, and it's a refrigerated room that only gets to like 48 degrees, and it has something to control the moisture content. So you can literally feel the barrels, and they feel damp like on the outside. And they basically want to, even though Kentucky is like the perfect aging climate for bourbon,
they don't want to age them anymore.
They're trying to recreate something more of like Scotland or something, or cognac, cave or whatever that, is that low, slow where you don't lose a ton of whiskey to the angels
share and all stuff like that. Interesting. I didn't know that. I wasn't able to join you for that. That was you selected a Sazerac rye that day, right?
We did.
Ooh.
Last Drop Rye.
Last Drop Rye. There we go. That's what you should have called it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, here we go. Let's go ahead and dive into it. We got just a little bit of a drop here. Here it is, onto the nose. This is a lot different. And we pulled out new glasses specifically for this one. This is a lot different than the 1986 or 80, whatever it was, Buffalo Trace, when you had that initial sense of the dusty funk kind of coming into it, because this is a blend of Kentucky bourbon and rye.
Yeah, it's got, it smells, not that it's a young whiskey by any means. It smells a lot younger than that.
But it's not true dusty funk.
Yeah, it's not like those old, 17, 20 year smells. There's some great notes on here. That black raspberry ice cream kind of note.
Oh, you mean like a Grater's ice cream?
Grater's, yeah.
A little bit of chocolate chunk in there. Is that what you're trying to go for there?
But there's also some really good, that's what I get initially, but then when you go back, there's some really nice, bright kind of citrusy and pine notes on it too. Maybe that's coming from the rye. I don't know. Maybe it's just in my head, but I get...
No, I definitely get the citrusy, a little bit what you're saying right there. It's there, it's on the back
smell, end. Almost like a fresh cut wood or something.
Well,
I don't know.
Let's freshly put this in our mouth and see what the taste is like. You can tell it's like a Boo Rye blend.
Yeah.
You get a big wave of a rye spice. little bit of a like a typical bourbon note that lingers on the front and the mid palate of oak, sweetness, caramel, but that rye spice really, I mean, it's I hate to use the word like a gobstopper, but it was more like I want to say more like a tidal wave. It's kind of like you have a tidal wave of rye that kind of hits you first, but then you still feel the bourbon and the everything else kind of coming underneath of it.
Yeah, you got those bright, fruity, sweet, fruity flavors on the front, and then it's weird. It kind of like mellows out as it goes through the palate. Usually it's different with other whiskeys where you get kind of the explosion, or it kind of builds up as you go.
Mm-hmm.
This kind of is like explosion of fruit and sweetness, and then kind of like goes into this nice like balance of sweet oak and cherry cordial. Like, I don't know. There's it's interesting. Like I wish we had like 2 more drops to like.
I was about to say, cheers, buddy, because we just tasted our last, our last drop.
Half drop. But
that was the last drop.
Yeah. It's a complex whiskey. There's so much going on. Like, it's hard to wrap your head around. It'll throw you for a loop. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And that's what should you do it for $4,000.
I would hope so. But that was you just tasted. That was it. That's our last drop. That's the only whiskey that we're going to taste of this $4,000 bottle, and we'll never taste it again, I would assume. But let's go ahead and actually, I will say for this one, I looked at it. If I compare it to the last one, completely different sides of the spectrum.
Yep.
This one tasted more of a traditional type of whiskey versus the last one was super dusty type.
Funky, yeah.
Very unique in what it was building. This one has a little bit more of I would say a new school profile to it.
Definitely. I would agree with that.
All right. So on to the rating here. On the nose, what are you going to say?
I'm going to go thumbs up. I mean, obviously. It's
hopefully.
Yeah, there's a lot of good. Yeah, it's one of those. This is definitely one of those whiskeys you're going to sit around for an hour and obviously and sit.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
You're not just going to be at a party going, who wants some?
Yeah.
On to the flavor, the taste. What are you going to say?
Thumbs up. I mean, it throws you for a loop because it's like, I'm just not used to whiskeys being like so strong on the front end and kind of mellowing out as it goes. I don't know. I'm trying to wrap my head around it. That it's hard to describe because I don't have any more to go back to.
That was it. It was literally the last drop.
Yeah,
that was the last drop. And on the finish.
I'm actually going to go sideways on the finish.
It's okay.
There was so much greatness on the front and mid palate, and then like I'm like, what the hell's going on the finish? And I don't know I don't know. You hate to do that to
a $4,000 bottle.
Yeah.
I don't know. Good thing we don't review scotches and cognacs that typically hit that mark anyway.
Yeah.
And we might be doing that on a weekly basis.
Yeah. I just remember the last one, it just had this nice, like.
Just a dusty unicorn is what that one was.
Right.
Honestly, that's what I would compare it to. This one, again, it feels like a newer type of whiskey. You'll if you do get the opportunity, chance to try it, you'll look at it and you could probably compare it with today's type of whiskeys. That's what I would compare it to.
Yep. I would compare it to like a really cool E.H. Taylor, like 4 grain or,
the Warehouse C release that was released.
Like that.
That was not too long ago.
Or the Marriage or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. But that is a review of Last Drop Distillers, a blend of Kentucky straight whiskeys, bourbon and rye, $4,000 bottle. How about it? But with that, cheers, everybody. We'll see you next time.